Good afternoon, good evening, good night. What time do you actually watch these? I normally send up videos quite late at night, about 11, 12 o'clock, if I get the chance to edit them on the fly, if I've got an hour free. This particular occasion. This is just a follow-up to the Toshiba 65-inch that we had a pretend diagnosis with yesterday. And it was more of a diagnosis, an educated guess, really, than a diagnosis. But I came to the conclusion that I thought the main board on this television had bought it and was keeping the television stuck in standby. We were getting a flicker on the standby LED when it came to trying to turn it on again. And so just in the workshop today, some of the comments that came through were very interesting, and one of them mentioned, well, stick a new main board in from a different Toshiba. See, if you don't have to connect the screen up, and of course you don't, no. And as this is a customer's TV, I wouldn't do that. If this was one that I was playing with myself and had been donated or bought for 10 quid or something, then I possibly would. So what I do, I decided to pop down to my little hut of plenty and dig out some pots. Now, I got power supplies as well as main boards. You can see a main board that I'm going to swap over here. It is exactly the same, apart from one thing, which I'm pointing at here, but you can't see. Let me just... and I didn't realise this yesterday, so this is why we have to get the exact main board, is because this particular TV, as well as its left-right stereo channel, has got a bit of oomph to it. It's got a subwoofer there that you may see, just to give it a bit of extra bass. How much extra bass it gives, I don't know. And I haven't seen that on a Vestel before, or if I have, I've ignored it. So if we're replacing, we have to replace like for like, and you have to replace like for like anyway. Sometimes you can get away with the odd discrepancy if you're lucky, but this one's obviously got a subwoofer circuit for a bit more bass, so we have to replace like for like. But a lot of engineers that have been in contact with me have said, well, it can be a power supply issue. Now, I don't get that, but I always respect other engineers' opinions. I understand that power supplies can fail, but I can't see how a power supply can make a TV be stuck in standby, because if the power supply is giving out the 5 volts, the 5 volts has to be there because you've got the LED standby light on, then that means it's getting power to the main board, and it's the main board which is not turning on the rest of the power supply. Anyway, that's an argument for a different day. But just in case, I've got a little collection here of... main boards and power boards that I could swap over with. The first one I'm going to try is a main board from a 50-inch Toshiba from the same year. It's not the same model, but it's the same year, and it has almost the same connections, well, the same power in connection anyway. And again, that's always, sorry, not always going to be a reason for swapping them over. You have to be careful. Sometimes if they've put the 12 and 15 volts on a different rail, then you can damage your power supply. It is a risk you take, but we've done this on the channel before. I'm sure you're aware. We've done this on the channel many a time. If we suspect that a main board is faulty and not turning the TV on, then one way to test, if you have got a few backups, few spares, is to get a similar one that has the same plug and sockets. Don't plug the screen in. You can keep the backlights plugged in on the power supply, but just to see if then the TV comes on and reacts to the remote control. If it does, then the diagnosis that we gave yesterday would be absolutely fine. So this is from a 50-inch TV. So I'm just going to plug this in and see if we get any signs of life. I still don't think it can be a power supply, but as you saw there, I've got a couple of power supplies lined up just in case. Okay, so we've got the donor power board in, got the remote control at the ready, so I'm just going to double check on the connections, and then we'll plug it in and see if we get it moving. And we do, look. We do. It's gone from its static red light, which would just flicker whenever you use the remote control or the button, to what we should be seeing, which is the TV trying to come on. So it's going to take a few seconds, but we need to see if that's going to stay red, and it does. So let's just go to the power button and see if we can get the TV to turn on normal. So what that would have been is the TV just doing a splash screen of the Toshiba logo. We can test if the backlight's coming on in a second, but I just want to see that this light stays green. It does take a couple of seconds because it goes into the big Toshiba splash logo, which we can't see because I haven't got the screen connected. I'm not risking that. And so if this stays green, that means the TV would have come on, and I'll just check for the backlights. Yes, it has. So that's 100% as far as I'm concerned, that the main board is the problem. Which part of the main board? Well, it's the main board that stores all the information. You see the backlights are on there. It will be the firmware that's the problem. So I'll just order the correct one and we'll get this going in part 3.